Okay guys, let's roll. This might be a long one because I've got a couple of video clips I want to show you and a news article. Yeah, background image, well, we'll come to that person later on. Now, you know it's Henry V, isn't it? Anyhow, let's see what we're talking about today. This. Tell us something we don't know. Starmer admits we have no effective deterrent in the channel, as French police agree to intercept boats in the water, but only if they are empty. Yeah, they're not going to do anything about those boats, guys. The only one who's going to do something about those boats are people like the ones I'm going to show you in a minute. Let's see what this article says. Years ago, I used to think the Daily Mail was a great paper. Boy, was I naive back then. France is belatedly to make a limited attempt to stop migrant dinghies at sea. Starmer admits there's no effective deterrent. Then what's the point of having a bloody Royal Navy, you dickhead? Just bring them home. Border Force, Border Ferry Service. Shame on all who serve aboard those ships. You're not real sailors. You're not patriots, you're traitors. Resign, save your honour. 60,000 immigrants arrived in Britain via dinghy. We have only sent 153 back. 2 of them coming straight back in. And in return for that, we took 134 legitimate migrants. There is no such thing as a legitimate migrant. France has refused to intervene against the dinghies, and yet we're paying them millions. Here they come, guys come. They're coming for your daughters. They're coming for your wives. They're not coming for your jobs. Dinghies will only be stopped whilst relatively empty. Rubber boats will not be slashed, neither will they be snagged in nets. The dinghies need a dozen men to carry them to the water. Don't believe that about the money that they are paying. There's a report out on that today by some Patriots. We'll come to him in a second. I'm just scrolling down this, guys, so you can read it. Save me reading. Order them to stop, as if they're going to stop. Officers will not slash or puncture the inflatable boats, causing them to sink, in apparent recognition of the fact that the African migrants often use Iraqi Kurd people smuggling gangs in case they may be non-swimmers. I don't care. I really don't care. Do you think the Germans resisting my father and his comrades landed on Normandy, worried about whether there were any non-swimmers in the invasion barges? No, they didn't want them to land, and we should be the same. Everyone you let land is one that's going to go on to commit an horrific crime. I don't care what happens to them. I don't care how many of them drowned. People don't seem to realise how dangerous it is to try and carry out arrests at sea. Then do what President Trump does in America with the drug cartels. I'm sure you've seen the videos. They just lob a couple of rockets into the boats. The problem is solved. Saves the taxpayer money. If there are 80 people on an overcrowded boat, including women and children, well, I haven't seen any women and children. If there are, well, you shouldn't be taking women and children on a dangerous journey across the sea. Not that it's that dangerous, because they only go out a couple of 100 yards and then get picked up by our ferry service, the RNLI. I'll never give them another penny. And I'm ex-Royal Navy and an ex-sailor. Catamarans, dinghys, fireflies, bosuns. I've sailed a lot off coast. I'll never give to the RNLI. I'll take a chance and swim ashore before I call them. Drownings can easily happen, nor often enough. Okay, guys, that's that. Now, there are things that can be done about it, so let's go here. Not there. We are going to go here. Danny Tomo. I made a mistake the other day. I confused him with a guy out in Ulster I follow. Another brave man. Well, what's Danny been up to? Let's have a look. Make a note of his channel and watch it. I think he's over there now. He's been going around the camps.
So, jackpot. Another boat. Obviously, legally, we can't damage any boats. Luckily for us, this boat had already been slashed when we found it. So that was lucky. So we're now just going to remove it from the pit and we're going to make sure it's disposed of. But luckily, it's already been cut. But obviously for legal reasons, it definitely wasn't us. So that's good. This will not be used again. This will not be coming to England. This will not be transporting any migrants. But this shows you, with just a bit of effort, with a bit of willingness, we can find the boats. We can make sure they're disposed of legally. Make sure they're not being used. We're under the impression that there is an engine underneath here because the deepness of how we've dug, and it just keeps going and going and going. And I think the engine is under here. There's something in there. But this boat will not be being used. And as I said, just very lucky that some good person has slashed it. Obviously not us, but another boat, another migrant crossing prevented. How easy it can be with a bit of effort. That's it.
Well, that's all it takes, guys. A few brave men. And I know there's brave men in England, Wales, Scotland, Ulster, and the Republic of Ireland. I think it's almost time. We had another visit to France, day trip, call it whatever. If you've been following Danny's channel, you'll see where they went over and they looked at the camps, saw how many were there, armed and stuff like that. Well, we've sent armed men to France several times in the past. Perhaps we should send them back there again. Anyhow, let's go here. Remember this? Let's play it, guys.
Of fighting men, they have full 70,000.
That's 5 to 1. Besides, they are all fresh.
'Tis a fearful odds.
Oh, that we now had here but 10,000 of those men in England that do no work today.
What's he that wishes so? My cousin Westmoreland? No, my fair cousin. If we are marked to die, we are enough to do our country loss. And if to live, the fewer men, the greater share of honor. God's will, I pray thee, wish not one man more. Rather, proclaim it, Westmoreland, through my host, that he which hath no stomach to this fight, let him depart. His passport shall be made, and crowns for convoy put into his purse. We would not die in that man's company that fears his fellowship to die with us. This day is called the Feast of Crispian. He that outlives this day and comes safe home will stand at tiptoe when this day is named, and rouse him at the name of Crispian. He that shall see this day and live old age will yearly, on the vigil, feast his neighbours and say, tomorrow is St. Crispin's. Then will he strip his sleeve and show his scars and say, these wounds I had on Crispin's day. Old men forget, yet all shall be forgot, but he'll remember with advantages what feats he did that day. Then shall our names, familiar in their mouths as household words, Harry the King, Bedford and Exeter, Warwick and Talbot, Salisbury and Gloucester, be in their flowing cups freshly remembered. This story shall the good man teach his son, and Crispian shall ne'er go by from this day to the ending of the world, but we in it shall be remembered. We few, we happy few, we band of brothers, for he today that sheds his blood with me shall be my brother. Be he ne'er so vile, this day shall gentle his condition. And gentlemen in England now abed shall think themselves accursed they were not here, and hold their manhoods cheap, whiles any speaks that fought with us upon St. Crispin's Day!
Good stuff, brilliant speech. I was watching an interview this morning where Tucker Carlson wipes the floor with that revolting excuse for a man, Piers Morgan. He really wiped the floor with him, but Tucker did say something. He wanted to know what had gone wrong with the English, the British, really. What had gone wrong with the British and why we hadn't overthrown our parliament for what they are doing to us. Good question. He referred to our nation's history, being a nation of fighters. And he said, we seem to have lost something. I don't know if we've lost something. I think it's still there. That Tomo over there in France has shown us that we still have brave men. Interesting thing about that speech, have a look at this. This is at the bottom of that website. I created a blog that I created years ago, 2006, at the end of 2006, 2007. What did I put at the bottom of that? Join the resistance, join the BNP. We few, we happy few, we band of brothers, for he today that sheds his blood with me shall be my brother, being near so vile, this day shall gentle his condition, and gentlemen in England, now abed, shall think themselves accursed they were not here. We really were a band of brothers, and we've got to restore that comradeship between all British patriots, be they in Reform Party, Advance UK, Britain First, National Front, all political parties. We must unite to destroy our enemies. You won't hear me attacking any patriot in any other political party. I might attack their leaders, like Nigel Farage, who I consider to be a Pied Piper, but I'll never attack their members or insult them. I might point out that they're mistaken. Anyhow, guys, that's all I got for you. Do try to like, subscribe and share. Every single like gives this channel a chance to grow. There was another video, I don't know if you watched it, the one where I interviewed Paul Golding of Britain First in 2011. And I was talking about looking forward to the day when I could just walk away from it all in 2011. And yet here we are, 2025, and I still want to walk away from it all. But you can't, I can't, because I'm British, and I know you won't walk away from it either. So how about we all go over to France and do something about it ourselves? Just say it. You've been listening to Paul Morris, the Green Arrow, pressing the stop record button